Let's talk about something that is so frustrating. You know you're qualified, you've done your prep work, but for some reason, something just goes wrong in the interview room. Well, today we're going to break down the 10 most common and totally avoidable mistakes that might be costing you that job offer. Does this sound familiar? Your resume is clearly working, you're getting past that initial screening, but you just can't seem to cross the finish line. You are definitely not alone. And you know what? The fix is usually way simpler than you think. But first, we gotta talk about the gatekeeper you might not even know you're facing. So get this, before a human being ever even lays eyes on your resume, it has to get past a robot. A shocking 75% of resumes are flat out rejected by applicant tracking systems, or ATS, just because of simple formatting issues. So the fact that you're even getting an interview, that's a huge win. Now let's make sure you absolutely nail it when you get there. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're gonna start with how to nail that critical first impression. Then we'll dive into mastering the conversation itself. After that, we'll cover how to secure the offer even after you've left the room, and I'll wrap it all up with a final checklist you can take with you to your very next interview. You know, the first act of your interview happens the second they see you. Long before you answer a single question about your skills or your experience, that interviewer is already forming an opinion, so let's make sure it's a fantastic one. These 5 things right here, these are the unforced errors of the interview world. I know they might seem like small details, but trust me, they can completely sink your chances before you even get to the real questions. Let's break them down. You have to do a little homework on the company culture. Is it a laid-back startup or a buttoned-up law firm? But here's the bottom line. When in doubt, it is always better to be a little overdressed than underdressed. Even for a video call. It just shows you're taking the opportunity seriously. Okay, these next 2 are absolute non-negotiables. Poor hygiene is just distracting, plain and simple. And arriving late, it's a huge sign of disrespect for the interviewer's time. We all have smartphones with maps, right? There's really no excuse. Plan to be early. It shows you're reliable and it gives you a minute to just breathe and collect your thoughts. Now, this one is so simple, but so powerful. When you avoid eye contact, it can make you seem like you're not confident, or even worse, like you're not trustworthy. But on the flip side, making good eye contact, that builds an instant connection. It shows you're engaged. If you're a little shy, just practice with a friend. It makes a world of difference, I promise. Your posture speaks volumes. I mean, think about it. If I were slouched over in my chair right now, would you take my advice as seriously? Probably not. So sit up straight. It projects authority and shows you mean business. And try to avoid fidgeting. It just screams I'm nervous and distracts from the great things you're saying. But here's the thing. Your real first impression doesn't actually start when you walk through the door. It starts with the piece of paper that got you there in the first place, your resume. If that document can't get past the robots, you'll never even get the chance to make that great in-person impression. And that's exactly where today's sponsor, MobileCV.ai, comes in. They built a tool to solve this exact problem. It's this incredible AI that can take pretty much any document you have, some rough notes, an old resume, whatever, and it transforms it into a perfectly formatted ATS-optimized resume in like under a minute. So here's why it's such a game changer. It's specifically built to beat that 75% rejection rate we just talked about. It uses these super professional latex templates, which means the formatting is always perfect. It even has an AI tool to help you write a killer cover letter. And the best part? You get 3 free credits to try it out. No subscription, no strings attached. All right, so your first impression was amazing. Now let's move on to the main event, the conversation. This is your moment to prove you've got the skills and the personality for the job. But there are a few common traps people fall into. This one is huge. You absolutely, positively have to do your homework. Look up the company's mission statement, find their core values, check for any recent news. When you understand what they care about, you can shape your answers to show that you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for this job. This right here is the sweet spot you're aiming for. You should be doing most of the talking, around 70 to 80% of the time. Now, if you talk too much, it can signal that you're nervous and you might just overwhelm the interviewer. But if you talk too little, it can come off like you're not interested. The key is to be concise, but also be thorough. Oh man, this might be the biggest mistake of them all. Never, ever speak negatively about a past employer or a former boss. Look, even if you had a terrible experience, you have to find a professional, filtered way to talk about why you left. Complaining just makes you look unprofessional and frankly like you might be difficult to work with. You know that moment when the interviewer leans back and asks, "So, do you have any questions for us?" Your answer must always be yes. Having zero questions basically screams, "I'm not that interested." You should prepare a few thoughtful questions beforehand about the team, the role, the company culture, anything that shows you're engaged and you're thinking seriously about this. So, you've made it to the interview, you did great. But you're not done yet. There is one last step that so many people forget, and it can be the one thing that separates you from the other candidates. Send a thank you note. It's so simple. Some people worry that it seems desperate or pushy, but it's not. It is a mark of professionalism and pure gratitude. A quick, polite email sent within 24 hours reinforces how interested you are. It reminds them who you are, and it just ends the whole process on a really positive, professional note. Okay, so we've covered a lot of don'ts. Let's flip that around and reframe all of this into a positive, actionable checklist that you can use to get ready for your next big opportunity. So here it is. Number 1, research the company so you can dress right and tailor your answers. 2, always prepare your own smart questions to show you're engaged. 3, practice confident body language. Sit up straight, make eye contact. 4, find that sweet spot in your answers where you're being concise but also thorough. And finally, number 5, always send that thank you note. So, as we wrap up, I want you to really think about this. Based on everything we just talked about, what is the single biggest change you're going to make to prepare for your very next interview? Remember, nailing these details isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared, being professional, and being memorable for all the right reasons.